Hello，这边是科技碎碎念，碎碎念结合生成式 AI 为您收敛懒人包，聚焦全球科技关键话题，让你用耳朵掌握趋势。
So today's report is really interesting because it connects some dots you might not expect. We're going to see how a corporate fight in Silicon Valley, real-world military strikes, and these sneaky legal loopholes all tie back to your personal data. First up, let's dive into the ethical battlefield of AI and warfare.
And look, this isn't just some theoretical debate for a college classroom. A recent U.S. Department of Defense contract has just sparked a huge public conflict between two of the biggest names in AI right now, Anthropic and OpenAI.
So what we're seeing here is a pretty fundamental clash of principles. You've got Anthropic on one side, drawing a hard line in the sand. They said, nope, our AI will not be used for mass surveillance or killer robots. And for taking that stand, they basically got blacklisted. Then, almost immediately, OpenAI steps right in to fill the void, signing a deal to put its models on the military's classified networks.
Now, OpenAI has said that the military agreed not to use their tech for things like surveillance or weapons. But then you look at the actual language in the contract and you see this phrase, any legal purpose. That's not a small detail. That is a massive loophole. It pretty much means the military can use the AI for anything they want as long as it doesn't violate some other existing law.
You know what? The public reacted and fast. A boycott against OpenAI started gaining some serious steam, and it drove this huge surge in downloads for Anthropic's AI, Claude. It got to the point where by late February, Claude's downloads had actually overtaken ChatGPT's. I mean, that's the market sending a very, very clear message.
Okay, so this battle over tech isn't just happening in corporate boardrooms and on app stores, it is literally spilling over into the physical world. Let's take a look at how real-world geopolitical conflict is now taking direct aim at the digital infrastructure that we all depend on.
So the whole thing was triggered by the tragic death of 3 U.S. soldiers. That led to a really dramatic escalation. In early March, the U.S. and Israel launched over 2,000 retaliatory strikes against targets inside Iran.
And this timeline just shows how quickly it all spiraled. After Iran's supreme leader was killed in those strikes, Iran hit back. But here's the crucial part. Instead of just hitting military targets, they sent hundreds of drones at the United Arab Emirates and deliberately targeted an Amazon Web Services data center in Dubai. This wasn't an accident. It caused major internet outages, and it signaled a huge strategic shift. Commercial tech infrastructure is now officially a primary target in warfare.
And of course, the economic fallout was immediate and it was global. Oil prices shot up, heading towards $100 a barrel. You had investors rushing to so-called safe haven assets like Bitcoin, pushing its price close to $70,000. And, unsurprisingly, defense tech stocks like Palantir absolutely soared. It's just a stark reminder of how deeply connected our physical and financial worlds really are.
But the threat is still evolving. A former FBI official is now warning that the next phase could be even more disruptive. We're talking about AI-assisted cyber attacks from Iran aimed at critical infrastructure, power grids, water supplies, banking, in the West. The battlefield is definitely expanding into cyberspace.
All right, so while governments and companies are fighting over how tech gets used in conflict, the consumer market is in a battle of its own, and this one's for your money. Let's switch gears and look at the latest hardware that was just announced by Apple and at the Mobile World Congress.
Apple's new strategy this season seems pretty clear. Pack in more value, but don't raise the price. The entry-level iPhone 17e, it now has double the storage right out of the box. The new iPad Air, it's getting a seriously powerful M4 chip upgrade. But here's the key. The prices are staying exactly the same. That tells you the market is fiercely competitive right now, and companies have to offer real, tangible upgrades to get you to buy.
Meanwhile, over at Mobile World Congress, the rest of the industry was showing off what they've been working on. Qualcomm is pushing our connection speeds forward with the first ever Wi-Fi 8 chip. Motorola is making a really interesting bet on privacy, partnering with Graphene OS. And then you have Lenovo just giving us a glimpse into the future with these wild concepts, like a completely modular PC and a tablet with glasses-free 3D.
Okay, and for our final topic, let's pull back the curtain on all this new tech and talk about the legal and privacy battles that are raging in the background. Because really, these are the fights that will set the rules for our digital future.
So there's this really fundamental question that's been working its way through the legal system, and it has the potential to totally reshape creative industries. The question is this: can something created entirely by an AI be copyrighted? Or, to put it another way, can an AI legally be considered an author?
Well, we now have a definitive answer. The U.S. Supreme Court basically said, we're not touching this, refusing to hear an appeal on the matter. That means the lower court's ruling stands. And that ruling establishes a huge legal principle. To get copyright protection in the U.S., the work has to have a human author, period.
But just as one legal question gets settled, a massive privacy loophole is being exploited every single day. See, the U.S. Constitution is supposed to protect people from unreasonable searches, which means the government needs a warrant to collect your data. But here's the tricky part. What if they don't collect it? What if they just buy it?
The whole process is shockingly simple. The government is basically outsourcing its surveillance. Instead of going to a judge to get a warrant, agencies just go to private data brokers and buy enormous data sets of our location history, our search history, you name it. The implication here is huge. It is a direct end run around our constitutional protections, and it threatens not only our privacy, but also our freedom of speech.
So after all that, we're left with this one critical question. We've seen corporate ethics shaping military AI, physical attacks on the very data centers that run our lives, and legal loopholes that expose our most private data. It all makes you wonder, in this digital world we're all living in, who is really in control?
听完全部内容后，记得按赞、订阅、分享和打开小铃铛。科技碎碎念将继续为您追踪最新科技趋势，了解最新关键话题。下次见。